said, yeah. I was like, yeah, you might.
Well, you could approve it subject to the board receiving. Well, then just, however y'all want to do it.
I think like the rest of the group might.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Emily Truman, serve as the 2026 Chair of the Gates County Board of Commissioners. I'm joined tonight by my Vice Chair, Nathan Berryman, Commissioner Jonathan Craddock, Commissioner Brian Roundtree, Commissioner Dave Forsyth, County Manager Scott Sauer, County Attorney Thomas Wood, and Clerk to the Board Renee Draper. Commissioner Berryman is going to provide the invocation and lead the pledge this evening.
Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us all here tonight to conduct our county's business. Please settle down with us, give us the patience and the wisdom that we see fit so that we be able to conduct business as you see. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, sir. And moving forward, are there any amendments to the agenda? And if not, we'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So move.
So second.
All right, closed session. Closed session. So then all in, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so, sorry about that. Before we moved a little too fast there, I would like to amend the minutes to have a closed session at the
agenda.
Excuse me. Amend the agenda to have a closed session at the end of the meeting.
So we had a motion on the floor, so he would have to amend his motion if we were to do that.
Yes, I amend my motion.
To include, okay. All right, so motion and a second on that. All in favor? Closed session, okay. There we go. That is unanimous. All right, so now do we have a motion to, so that was to add the closed session to the agenda. We need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Okay. We have a
Second that.
All right, and all in favor? Okay, that is all five. Thank you all. All right, and then we will move down to the consent agenda. Are there any amendments or clarifications for the items listed on the consent agenda? And if not, if we can get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll move to approve them.
Okay, so we have a move for approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor for the approval of the consent agenda?
Minutes,
Okay.
consent agenda and minutes, or no? Okay.
That is on the consent agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, minutes are. Okay. All right, perfect. So that is unanimous. The next thing we have on the agenda is for Sheriff Campbell, if he has an update this evening for us.
Good evening, folks. I'll be real quick. Just a couple of things. One thing on the law enforcement side, we are continuing to see and catch people driving at extremely high rates of speed in the county. Had one last night at 110, one night before at 114 miles an hour. I've got multiple deputies with radars, and we are catching them and we are stopping them. But it's everywhere in the county, and there is no stopping to it. People are just driving like maniacs now. Other two things. We got two events coming up. Both very, very special events in October on National Night Out, the October 6th. We've got the Nightingale that's going to fly in, and we're also going to have the Batmobile there, so it should be a really good event. The other event we've never participated in, I'm looking forward to it. It's called Battle of the Badges. There's a flag football game. We'll pair it up with Currituck and Camden counties to make a team. Pasquotank, Paquemmons, and Chowan will be the other team. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be September 26th at the Paquemmons High School football stadium. So anyway, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will be playing.
So we might have a notice of potential quorum that day over at for Paquemmons County High School. Okay. right, so moving to public comments. Ms. Draper, do we have anyone signed up to speak tonight? No? Okay. Moving along, we have two special presentations tonight. The first, we have Ms. Elizabeth Mitchell with the Boys and Girls Club. We can invite you to the podium. Thank you.
Evening. I have some information for you all. If I could-
Okay.
You gonna do it?
Thank you all so much for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name is Elizabeth Mitchell, and I'm the Executive Director of Boys and Girls Clubs of the Albemarle. We serve two clubs in Edenton and Elizabeth City, and are soon to open another club in Perquimans County in January of 27. So I'm here to introduce to you guys a little bit about our organization and tell you what we do for the young people we serve. I know you may have heard about us in name, but you may not understand the impact that we have on the young people we serve. We are a nonprofit organization that serves school-aged children between the ages of 6 and 18 during critical out-of-school time hours. Our clubs in Edenton and Elizabeth City are open about 4 hours every day after school, and more importantly, we offer an 8-week summer camp that operates Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5:30. Our mission is to inspire and enable all young people, especially those who need us the most, to reach their full potential as responsible, productive, caring citizens. And that is exactly what we aim to do, and every one of our activities is geared toward every day after school. Our programs are focused on 4 key areas: academic success, character and leadership development, healthy lifestyles, and workforce readiness. So when the kids arrive at the club after school, they go into what we call Power Hour, which is our homework help and tutoring program. We've got a very robust tutoring program at our club in Edenton that's manned by volunteers and run by our education director. We collect report cards for all of our club members. We analyze them, and those kids who are falling the furthest behind are paired with a one-on-one tutor in our tutoring room. And then our education director goes and visits the schools to work side by side in the classroom with another set of students who are falling even further behind than that. So we're really intentional about who we target in terms of our academic success programs. After Power Hour, we serve dinner. This is a part of a federally funded feeding program that we offer at both of our clubs. And there's more data in the handout that you gave regarding how many meals we served and all of that. We serve dinner, as I said, and an evening snack during our after-school program. And during the summer, we serve breakfast, lunch, and snack. After dinner, everybody rotates through a variety of different activities, from STEM activities, like unstructured play out on the playground. We offer football, soccer, I think I said STEM programs, healthy lifestyles activities. We have a social worker at each one of our clubs who is there to kind of provide what one of them refers to as real-time therapy. So she can catch the kids as they get off the school bus and help them with little things that every child encounters. And the beauty of being from a small town is we are aware of the big things that children experience both in the home and at school, and she's there to catch that and have a more intentional approach to those kids who need that extra support. We charge for our club in Edenton just $25 a year to attend our after-school program. At our club in Elizabeth City, we've recently had to increase our cost over there, and so the cost is $25 a month. But having said that, we don't turn anybody away. Again, another beauty of a small town, you know who needs the extra support and are able to provide all of that. So basically, the Boys and Girls Club is all about just leveling the playing field for kids. We believe that every child deserves a chance to be a success, no matter who their parents are, no matter what their parents do, no matter the community or home environment that they experience. We believe that every child deserves a fair shot to reach their full potential and should never be limited again by the things that they experience at home that are beyond their control. So I'm excited about the possibility of bringing Boys and Girls Club to the Gates County community. I know Emily has been to our club in Edenton and toured maybe about a year or so ago. So I would love to give all of you a tour around of either of our facilities. I think that's the best way to see the programs that we do in action and see the young kids involved and engaged, and the important support that we provide, not only for them, but for working parents in the communities that we serve.
Yeah, perfect. I'm going to open up for comments and questions from the board. I will say it was a great tour, and I know when I was there, she mentioned that we did have some Gates County students that were taking part in the
Yes.
campuses in Elizabeth City and Edenton. So
Yeah, every year we have kids come from Gates County and Perquimans, which kind of prompted our growth into Perquimans. So.
yeah.
We're currently evaluating uses of space and everything for our Buckland School, so I know that's been discussed as far as the Boys and Girls Club there, and could we fit it into the footprint and all that kind of good stuff. So as we go down that path and put everybody's names in a hat that would like to have space there, I'm kind of looking forward to that discussion and what will be the needs and your requirements as we get to that point. So.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah,
And
Boys and
most-
Girls Clubs can operate in any kind of environment, schools, independent facilities, all of the above, yes.
And I'm most definitely the advocate of the Boys and Girls Club. One time in my young age, I worked at the Boys and Girls Club, and you're exactly right. The 4 aspects, especially education and work preparedness, that's very vital to our youth today. Because our youth today need structure in order to get off to a level playing field, get off to a great start. And of course, we want our students healthy, and the social aspect is phenomenal. And I applaud you, the Boys and Girls Club, for everything that you do. And hopefully, we'll have a Boys and Girls Club here in Gates County. It'd be very
I
vital
hope so.
to the promotion of our young students and put them in a position to be valuable and vital citizens.
And if I may, too, just because I know that it's going to be on the forefront as we go through all of the things, could you talk about the funding of the program, how that works as far as the funding and what county responsibility would be as far as what private donor responsibility is? And then you mentioned the monthly or yearly annual fees for the different families.
Right, right. So I think maybe contrary to popular belief, Boys and Girls Club, we do not receive any funding from Boys and Girls Clubs of America. We receive supports in a variety of other ways, programming, training, all of that, but we pay a fee to Boys and Girls Clubs of America to operate our clubs. So all of the funding that we receive comes from the communities that we serve or private family foundations. We've had a lot of luck with foundations that really like to serve Eastern North Carolina. We get very little federal funding. The only piece of that is the feeding program that I mentioned. And we do get some funding from the state that all Boys and Girls Clubs across the state get. And we're getting that again for the first time this year since 2004. So we were left out of the state budgets for all that time, and that left a lot of clubs in a bind. But the majority does come from the communities that we serve.
How many do you have at Edenton, and how many do you have at Elizabeth City?
It's pretty much 50-50. In Elizabeth City, we've kind of had to decrease actually the number that we serve because it was a little much, but we serve 100 kids a day. I was there, I think there was 103 today in Elizabeth City, and about 110 or 111 in Edenton. And that's lower than it would be as the year progresses. When school first starts, people are still trying to figure out bus routes, and applications for kids are still coming in.
So in Edenton versus Elizabeth City, what kind of facilities do you work out of?
So our facility in Edenton operates out of a former school building, D.F. Walker. It was a high school. And so we renovated that space and moved in there in 2020. And we're in a lease arrangement with Chowan County where we make an annual lease payment. We raised a bunch of money, and they needed to help us fund the renovations. So we put that into a small foundation that we have and that's used to make those annual lease payments to Chowan County. At our Elizabeth City Club, we own that club free and clear. We moved into that building in 2022. after kind of having moved from a lot of different spaces, but love our current space. It's got an outdoor basketball court, lots of outdoor space, indoor space. It's great.
So Emily alluded to the funding part, and you said something about $25 per year for Edenton, 25 per month. Is that a fee that's paid by the individual, or is that the fee that the local community pays, or
That's a
in
fee that's
addition?
paid by parents. That's essentially our membership fee.
So how much is paid by local community for each of those two facilities then?
So, oh gosh, it kind of varies. I know, I'd have to think real quick. So there are different budgets for different communities. So the Edenton Club is kind of better funded from the community, if you will. I would say at least 65% of the funding that we receive comes from the local community. For our Perquimans Club that we're starting off kind of from the ground up, we're starting off with a small budget of about 165 to 200,000, depending on kind of utilities and some things that we're still trying to work through with the county over there. So that gives you an idea of our.
165,000 for Elizabeth City, you say, to 200
That's for our Perquimans Club.
for Quinlan's?
And I mentioned that just because it would be a similar kind of
So this-
startup situation.
You gave me a
if
percentage, but is there a dollar number attached to the 65%? I don't know, 65% of what, when you were saying for Edenton?
I don't know right off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So do we have any other comments or questions then? No? Yeah, if any of that information is available to go forth, I will recommend that if you reach out to Ms. Mitchell, she will coordinate a tour. I
I'd
did
love
enjoy
that.
my tour. It was very nice to be there. It was there when the kids were there, so got to see it active. It was during the summer last year, so I know it was during a summer camp that it came through, so little over a year ago. But yeah, well, thank you.
I do have an additional question. What is the basic layout of facility, I guess the operational layout for a Boys and Girls Club?
You mean in terms of the, like,
Infrastructure.
Yeah, so in Edenton, our DF Walker it's a school, so it's set up kind of like a school, like there are two long halls. During our renovations, we did kind of open up spaces by adding windows and things like that. So one hall we use for our elementary school kids, other halls for teens. And we have the rooms kind of broken up into like our power hour room, our STEM room, an activities room, an art room. And similar, we have a big game room for our middle school kids. And then the layout of our Elizabeth City Club is much different. You kind of walk in and there's a big open space with very little classrooms for the kids to kind of break out in. So you have to be more kind of strategic about that. I hope
So-
that answers your question.
Yes, so you don't have any specific requirements, basically the needs of the specific community?
Not really. I mean, Boys and Girls Club just all around operate in just such a wide variety of facilities. So we can, meet the needs of the community wherever we're allowed to operate.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. So the next item on the agenda is our second presentation from School Board Member Danny Hale. He's given an update on the consolidation and leadership. Yay, and we also have board member Ryan and Leg and Superintendent Dr. Jordan. I was just reading what I had down.
It's okay. I walked in the door and got this information.
Okay.
So I am to say thank you for having us here. We appreciate it very much. And thank you for everyone who's going to be listening. What we're going to try to do tonight is talk about our leadership changes, our strategic plan that we have in place, the consolidation progress and spending, and future planning that we as a board have. I think we're all real excited with our new superintendent here. She was approved as acting superintendent July 21st through 31st, and she is now going to be our interim superintendent until December 31st. Now, this is a part I hate, but I'm going to say it real quickly, so listen carefully. You're going to do it? Oh, well, if she's going to do it, I'm going to pass it on. I'm going to say once again, did I miss anything, Danny? No, not if she's going to do it. All right, I'm good to go. Thank you very much for having us here tonight. We appreciate it. This is Dr. Shantae Jordan.
I felt like no better person to introduce me or present me than me, so I had it prepared for you. So thank you, Ms. Ryan, and thank you to the board, and thank you all for allowing us this opportunity tonight, or this evening. I do have a few words, but I'm also sharing because I know people listen in live, and for those who I have not had the opportunity to meet, just want to introduce myself to the community as well. Chairman, members of the Board of Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. As everyone in here I'm sure knows, I am Dr. Jordan, Interim Superintendent of Gates County Schools. I'm especially proud to serve in this role because Gates County is home. I'm a graduate of Gates County High School, and much of my professional career has been right here in Gates County. My educational background includes a bachelor's degree in special education and master's degree in special education from East Carolina, go Pirates, Master of School Administration, and most recently, my doctorate in educational leadership from East Carolina University. Throughout my career, I've had the opportunity to serve in several areas of public education, including special education, school and district administration, human resources, student services, personnel management, and district operations. Most recently, I served as a human resource director for Gates County Schools before the appointment of interim superintendent. These experiences have given me the opportunity to see our school system from many different perspectives, but have also reinforced one important belief: strong schools and strong communities depend on strong partnerships. As interim superintendent, I look forward to working collaboratively with our Board of Education, Board of Commissioners, county leadership, and our families and employees of our community partners. While our respective boards have different responsibilities, we share the community, serve the same families, and ultimately want the same thing: a strong and successful future for Gates County and our students in Gates County schools. So again, I appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself this evening, and I look forward to strengthening the partnership between Gates County schools and Gates County government as we work together on behalf of the community for our students. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so leading right into what do I do? What's my job? So our strategic goal, our strategic plan, or our roadmap for the year and how we're going to lead our students and our schools to success, these are our priorities for this year, and this is a requirement at the beginning of every school year that the district and our schools develop priorities in which they will follow to operate for the school year. So just a few of ours. One, our strategic priority is develop and retain exceptional employees. We want to recruit and hire and retain the best of the best for our students here in Gates County Schools. We do have a couple vacancies now, but we are working diligently to fill those roles with the right people moving forward. Next is to increase student achievement. Our last year's testing data has not been released yet, but that will be released soon, and I'll be providing an update to our board at a board meeting. But Gates County Schools, we're moving in the right direction. We're moving in the right directions. Our students are performing well, but this year our goal is to see that trajectory increase, and we want to be even better than we are now. Another is to adhere to strict fiscal stewardship and operational efficiency. We got to do a better job of planning how, when, and what we're going to use our resources on, and how they can support our students and our schools for their achievement that we just talked about in our priority number 2. Strengthen family and community partnership. That's another big area for me, is to bridge that gap that we have with just the workings with our families and our community with the operations of the school. So a goal for me is to bridge that gap and bring our communities into the school so we can all work on the same common goal, and that's to support our students. Support principals and teachers and staff, promote transparency and collaboration. Through social media, I've been trying to do a lot of that in our school board meetings, having presentations, just making sure that everybody's aware and have the understanding, and we're communicating what's happening in Gates County schools, whether it's just procedural things, procedural changes, celebrations, or just need to know information. We want that information to be provided by the right people so that we're getting the right information out to our parents and families. And last, strengthening district culture. That's a major priority for me, is just strengthen the culture in Gates County schools. And that comes from supporting our students, celebrating our staff, and just bringing our community in and letting everybody know and be aware of the great things that we're doing so we can all celebrate each other together. So they're just a few of our priorities this year. I've got a board behind me that I know will keep me in line and make sure that we are meeting these objectives, but these are the goals that we have to make Gates County schools even better than we've been before. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're where we need to be, right? Consolidation update. Anybody remember the word consolidation? Seems like that was 100 years ago, right? Well, we're still in the midst of consolidation for those that have sort of forgot about it. So I did a little presentation here, just, again, just a little refreshing history. It started off last winter when we noticed the general fund balance was, the auditors recognized the general fund balance was getting pretty low. We went into sort of a reorganization transformation. That led to a decision in March to close one of our elementary schools. Then we had to do a lot of work, in April and May, and trying to get all that figured out. And this summer we've been really busy. If you've ever had to move a school, just think about putting about 30 households together and trying to move it all at one time. So a lot of moving pieces. Again, we are in our first week of school, and we do have our 2 elementary schools going right now. Trying to get the bugs out of it, but it's been successful so far. So again, understand that we're in this process, and we'll still be in this process for a while. So next slide, please. Let's get to where we're talking about. So if you refresh your memory, we had asked in our original budget request for $325,600 to help us do the consolidation process. This was the ask from the school board to the county, and you graciously accepted that. This is sort of our expenditures and what we've spent on so far. I sort of grouped a few things together, so let's talk about additional staff, which is sort of grouped together. That had a combination of things in it. One of the things we had in there was the ability to pay some of our teachers during the summertime to actually come and pack up their classrooms or unpack their classrooms if they were changing schools. It's sort of unfair to ask a teacher to come in the middle of the summer when they're normally off to unpack all the things they've sort of packed up. So we gave some teachers some ability to actually pay for that. We're paying on a per-day salary. We also got to hire 3, high school students during the summertime. They worked about 6 weeks for us, I think. Actually, we did all the legwork. They're the ones that did all the boxing, and they're the ones that moved all the pallets and all that kind of stuff. So that was in our additional staff. We had to pack up a library. I mean, you walked in the Buckland Library, every book in there had a bar sticker on it that said that book belonged to Buckland. So we had to bring our media specialists in the summertime to rearrange and go into the computer and divvy all our elementary books up to the 2 remaining elementary schools. So when we say additional staff, that is the kind of effort that we had to put into it with some of our people during the summertime. Moving trucks and boxes, we had to, as you know, rent a moving truck. And it worked out tremendously well. It had a lift gate on it, so when teachers palleted everything up, we could move it out, lift it right up, push it right in the moving truck, take it to the new classroom, put it right in the center of the classroom. If we didn't do that, we would have been using trucks and trailers and all kinds of things. So that definitely helped with the moving truck coming in. The parking lot, that's where we're at right now, as you probably see. So you see some expenditures up there, freezer and a dishwasher. So we'll get through each one of them. We had budgeted $32,000. We ended up spending about $28,000, and that should be done now. So that's, a grand total on that expenditure. Moving trucks and boxes, we budgeted $36,000. We spent about $81,000. And again, the main reason for that was the renting of that truck for 30 days was quite a bit more than we thought it was going to be. But that part is also done. We're at the parking lot. So right now, you saw we budgeted for $150,000. We're estimating at $105,000. We have not finished the parking lot, but we have done the work. We haven't been billed by the contractor yet. So we feel pretty safe that that's going to come in about $105,000 in our number there. So we're going to be a little bit under budget on that. The freezer, this is an extra freezer for Gatesville. So this is not doing any work to it. This is actually placing another freezer, an outside freezer. We're still getting quotes for that. We did get one quote in. We still feel pretty good about the $50,000. But because of the expenditure, you have to get more than one quote. So we're still working on that little piece right there. The dishwasher has been bought for Gatesville and installed. So that is a final cost for that too. So we only have 2 really expenditures up there. So that leaves us $52,000. So we budgeted $325,600. We spent about $273,478. Leaves us about $52,000. Now working with the county commissioners, and just to let you know, We talked about taking that 52,000 and doing the rock for the service driveway. The maintenance department actually met with the contractor today, and that is going to be done, I think, before your gyms in September. So they are on track for that. That is a $10,000 expense. We'll take care of that, doing the contract and all for you on that. The second one is the one that's a little bit more tricky, and it's the freezer overhaul. So there's a freezer at Buckman. It's been in existence for a long time. But when it would break down when we were there, when school's in session, it breaks down, they immediately notice it broke down. You know, it's an old 30-year-old freezer. When you put gym stuff in there and it's broke, nobody may let it sit for a week or 2 weeks. So our recommendation to you was to actually leave the four walls up, but put new outside controls and inside controls in it. So we have an estimate for that now. It's going to take some work. So the four walls will stay there. We're basically just, as Nathan would say, we're ripping all the guts out, putting all new guts in. That'll give you a dependable freezer there. Also give you a warranty that you can use. So if something goes wrong or something goes out. And we're also, looking at maybe putting Wi-Fi or something in there that would notify somebody if the temperature fell below. So with all that said, we're at 52,000, and our expenses left over. We can spend 50 on behalf of the county commissioners, or leaving us with a balance of about 2,000. So this is one of those that sort of worked out, right? We're sort of dead on. It seems like it's a miracle math, but that is actual expenditure. As I promised the county manager back a couple months ago, we will have the receipts, and at some point in September, we'll bring the receipts over, and you can have them for your file. So, next slide. So, seems like that's it, right? Everybody's consolidation, the money's done, we're done. Not quite. So we have some remaining short-term efforts that are really hitting us. The first one is our student estimates. Now, if you remember, everybody goes back to memory, DPI estimated we were going to lose 50 students this upcoming year. We were going to be at 1320. We did all our budget planning, everything, our teachers set up at 1320. As of today, 1380. Now, that is actually, I think, 6 more than we had last year. So for a financial guy, I'm jumping up and down going, this is terrific news, right? Because ADM is how state sends the money to you. But as a facility logistics person, this worries me greatly, right? Because we have got a lot more students than we anticipated. Now, they're spread across 4 schools, we understand that. But again, this is a good problem to have right now. So logistically, we're trying to work this out. This is going to take us a few months to get worked out, to get all the staff in place and all the teachers in place. Just think about it, just lunchrooms and how many lunch people you can go through at a time. So it's going to take us a couple of whiles to work that out. One of the obstacles we have, and we talked about this in the joint session, and I think that sometimes the public sort of doesn't understand this rule. DPI does put requirements on you how many students you can have per teacher. Okay? It's a recommendation, but it's a very strong recommendation. And it's also for the benefit of the children. A good example is you can only have 16 first graders per teacher. And if you'll notice, when we originally had our consolidation plan, it was to put 3 teachers at Gatesville in first grade. We now have 4 because the number of students took us over that requirement. What we're happy with, whether you're at T.S. Cooper or you're at Gatesville, your teacher to student ratio is about the same. That's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to overload one teacher to have 20 or 25 students, and another school will only have 10 or 12. So we're trying to keep that balance. So we're going to be having to do this for several years if you sort of think about it, as that student population moves up and down. All your first graders this year are going to get promoted to second grade next year. So you may have 4 first grade teachers this year at Gatesville. Next year you may have to have 4 second grade teachers because you may have to follow along with that class. So that really concerns us. One of the things that happened in the consolidation process is a lot of parents came to the board asking for their child to be moved to a specific school. And we completely understand that because Williston Road and those kind of places, Gatesville's sort of closer than T.S. Cooper. Unfortunately, we almost had to turn down every family to come to us. Even, it's tough, but we couldn't keep putting students in Gatesville because we were overloaded the teacher ratio. So, which is forcing some people that live in the Drum Hill, Williston Road, to drive to T.S. Cooper. We think it's going to be fine after everybody gets sort of used to it, but that just lets you know, it wasn't because we were just trying to keep school numbers down, it's because you have to keep the teacher ratio in place. Because if you violate that, there's some things that come along with that. Short-term dependency on long-term subs, how do we get there? Well, go back to your timeline. March, we decided to close the school. April and May, we had lots of meetings trying to figure out how to work that out. Teacher notifications in June. Then we had an appeal process we had to go through. So it was almost 1st of July before we got our ratios and the teachers right. Well, when you're competing for resources like teachers and you start advertising in July, you're not going to get a lot of applicants. They've already been chosen. We're very fortunate. When I say long-term subs, what I want to say about that is we have a lot of outstanding retired teachers in this county. And almost every one of our long-term subs is a retired teacher that taught right here in Gates County that has come back and said, I will fill that position for a while. These jobs are still open. We still have them advertised. We're hoping to get out, possibly get some December graduates and bring them into our school system, but we just picked the wrong time of the year to go after a bunch of teachers, you know. So we're working on that, but we feel comfortable with that. Again, the financial position, you mostly heard, the new budget passed, and part of that budget was a pretty good raise for beginning teachers. One thing we don't know yet is what's the impact on the local budget for that. Because again, there is an impact to your local budget because there's health insurance costs, retirement costs that we chip into that. So we're trying to figure that out too. The next bullet is sort of important. We have very limited growth right now in our two elementary schools. We do not have an available classroom in Gatesville. We are 100% in every single classroom in Gatesville right now. So we are very limited. And I think T.S. Cooper is almost 1. So we're working through that. We've got some plans. We're working forth. We can talk about that later on with you. But you know, that is something that's troubling us right now, how we get through that. Again, the growth number is great. I told you from a financial guy, I love it. Logistical guy, not so much. Okay. One of the good things about it, the Ryan homes that everybody talks about is being built in the Wellington area. Those are T.S. Cooper. Remember that line comes through. So we're going to be okay through the first phase of the growth phase. The last one is the parent pickup line. Now that is, that's a challenge. I don't know if anybody's ever participated in that. I got to participate in the last few days. Parents get there at 2:30 to pick up their kids at 3:10. And I was at Gatesville the last couple of days, and we're talking about a couple hundred cars are coming to pick up their kids. So we're still working that out. I know we're making some adjustments to Gatesville. I know we're still making some adjustments to T.S. Cooper. So don't write that off as final yet. On the parking lot plan, don't write that off as final yet because we're still trying to get to that end result there. So next slide.
She didn't know
Thank you for the glasses. Good evening. So some of the future planning opportunities for the ways that we would like to examine the benefits of utilizing the available space at Buckland for district purposes. It would be an excellent site for permanent meetings for the Board of Education. Currently, our technology director, every single time we have a meeting, he has to bring everything in. He has to set up the microphones. He has to bring his whole team, get it set up for live streaming. So it would be ideal if we could have just a meeting place where we could come in and have a seat, and it would be a lot less work on the team. It could be a permanent training site for all of staff. Right now, when we have a meeting and we go to a school, we have to go to the principal, you know, which room do you have available, or we're going to have to kick somebody out of their classroom. So it, especially during the school year, is a challenge of where we would meet. We could also use some of that space just as a permanent place for district meetings when professional development days or people coming in and train it for different trainings, we could have a set place and not have to worry about who we're going to put out so that we can have a central meeting place. And also, it would be an ideal place to relocate the central office. Right now, we have some central office staff who doesn't have room at the central office, so they may be at the high school, at one of the elementary schools. So we've just kind of talked about having a place where everybody under the district office umbrella could have a meeting place or an office in one spot.
All right, so if you haven't already imagined and didn't already know, our future looks bright in Gates County Schools. But I should have began with this, and I did not, forgive me, but as you see, we travel as a pack. When you see one, you usually see at least 3 or 4 of us. Mr. Byram could not be here tonight. He's a little under the weather, and Ms. Riddick had a family engagement. So otherwise, they would have been here. So I want to say that on their behalf because they definitely would have been here to support us. Overall, our schools and our county are connected. When our students succeed, our families are stronger, and our community is stronger, and Gates County is stronger. We look forward to working alongside the board, and we're not separate entities, but as partners with a shared responsibility for the future of Gates County schools. Again, we appreciate you hearing us tonight and considering our presentation, and look forward to more collaboration and conversation in the future.
Yeah.
And this will be our new logo. It has to be voted on and board approved, but we're looking at this as being our new logo as we change our vision and change our focus and rebrand for Gates County Schools. We're looking at this as possibly being our new logo. We had teachers that vote on it during convocation, so when those results are in, hey, they make the rules. We'll see. We'll see what they think. So,
All right. Well,
all right.
thank you. ADM, yay.
Yes.
That's really exciting.
Very.
The communication has been phenomenal, I will say. There for a few days, if my phone rang, it was absolutely Gates County Public Schools, which was great because communication was amazing. But we'll dive in more. This was a presentation style, but we do have a joint meeting in September that we'll look at planning. So I look forward to going more into that, just talking about different things. In the interim, for all things, I'm going to offer again now, we do have this meeting space that is available, that is set up. You all are always welcome to use it in the interim of any kind of long-term planning. But also, we have been incredibly grateful for the collaborations. I know here at the county level, they have been phenomenal. We've gone to Raleigh, we've been around Gates County, and they are continuing to meet with people in Raleigh. I know that there was a meeting yesterday y'all had with DPI in Raleigh. So thank you so much for all of the work that you all are putting in and the continued collaboration and efforts. Yes.
I was just going to say, worth mentioning at our work session just prior to this,
Yes.
we talked to the A&E firm that's going to go about doing facility planning for us, and we specifically discussed with them that it's going to be a joint engagement with the schools as well as the county for looking at all the buildings and long-term plans and facilities, including Buckland and everything else.
So they'll be doing an assessment of all county-owned facilities is the next step with them. So
yeah,
we plan on bringing you all into that with us.
It's going to be very important, these list of items that you went through that's brought up to them as far as short-term things for Buckland, but we're looking at long-term and what we need to do long-term. And so having that feedback and collaboration with the school system would be phenomenal to be able to do that. We're trying to put that 20-year plan kind of together.
Yeah.
I have a question concerning consolidation. I know you said that, of course, you got to look into it, but what options are you considering? Because there have been an uptick, as you said, ADM's great. That's great for the financial part. But as far as when we have even more students, where are these students going to go in the short term?
In the short term, we do have some classrooms that we might can reclaim at Gatesville that could expand. We do have a little bit of margin that we can expand a little bit, but again, like you were saying, in a short-term plan, the growth is an unknown number. Again, nobody expected us to get to 1380 this year. So we're going to have to keep a very, very close eye on that. I think one of the important things, and I'll go ahead and say it, nobody else probably wants to say this is why we need to maintain that Buckland infrastructure as much as we can. Because if we get expanded beyond our capability at our 2 elementary schools, we can always make some small, quick adjustment that could utilize maybe that facility for something like a kindergarten or first grade, to try to get us through the gap until we get to our long-term plan, which we're still under the premise and we're still trying to work toward that, perhaps a new school down the road.
Right. Because the reason why I asked this question, because I know economically in this region, it's going to be a shift, especially what's going on in Hereford County with contractors coming in, also with new employees coming in for the industry over in Hereford County. So housing is going to be an issue. Surrounding counties are going to have a lot of people looking for housing, not only in Hereford County, but Gates County, Bertie, and adjacent counties. And I know there may be an uptick. There may be an uptick in our school system, and I'll, just ask that question for that reason.
And I think, again, we talked about this a lot back in March. the decision to close Buckland was a financial decision, not a growth decision, not a students or teachers. It was simply a financial decision. I mean, we didn't have a choice as a school board. There was a decline in ADM at the time. We've lost 400 students over the last 7 or 8 years. Now, when that trend stops, and you're exactly correct, and maybe we hit the bottom. I mean, I hope so. And if we've hit the bottom and we start growing and we open up Hereford and we get this sludge, we have to be very agile. We have to be agile from a school board. We have to be agile from a program, and be ready to accept that. I think we still have students signed up today. So good problem to have.
Yes.
From a physical standpoint, it's a good problem to have, but logistically, it can be a nightmare. So we are tracking that every single day.
Thank you so much.
We ought to consider at some point talking to our planning and zoning folks about it, because it's commonplace for the bigger municipalities, when a development comes in, they're at X amount of houses, they're required to go and have an analysis done on who the market these houses are sized for, who's going to buy them, and the likely impact, the number of students that are likely to come in with a school system. That's a routine requirement for almost every city and county north of the state line for them to submit those. I see those fairly regular, where they come and say, we're building 450 houses, we're going to add 72 students, K through 12 or something. And they usually have an analysis. The planning group has a consultant on board that'll review them, and we've had them kick back and said, no, you're underestimating it, or you've overestimated it, or whatever. So we ought to consider doing that if we're really likely to see big growth. Putting that in
One of the
place.
things that this board is committed to right now is not to go over that student-teacher ratio. I think that's very important. I think a lot of people gloss over that. You can certainly fix problems by just saying, well, you got 25 students there, and you got 30 students there. But as you saw, Dr. Jordan said earlier, who pays for that? And it's our students pay for that. So we're going to be very strict as we be honest with ourselves and say, we're not willing to bend on that rule. If you're saying 16 or 17 students per first grade teacher, we're going to keep trying to stay in that range. Because again, the person gets hurt is a student. That's why Dr. Jordan's strategic plan is students first. We have to think in a student way, not an easy solve button where we can just put more desk in there, if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
All right. So we are moving along to the Citizen Advisory Board recommendations. We have 2 tonight. The first is, thank you. Make it be light. The first is the Merchants Commerce Center Committee recommendation on site preparations. If we can invite Ms. Reba Green-Holly to come to the podium to present that recommendation on behalf of that committee.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
I come before you as the chair of the Merchants Commerce Center Committee, and I'd like to introduce our committee. They chose to stay in place and say they'd stand there, but we have Paul Askew, our vice chair, Leslie Spinoglio, secretary, Cecil Bagley, Ray Brothers, and we have Lisa Cherry, our advisor, and we have Nathan Behrman, our ex officio member. And we had our first meeting July 22nd, and I'd like to say our committee has gelled, and we are about getting some work done. So the first thing was we held our meeting. We talked about why are we here, what are we supposed to be doing, and we decided to pick a strategy to bring before you all and see how you all feel about it and vote for us to move forward. So I would like to start with my committee representative that's going to present, Paul Askew. He and Cecil have done a lot of background work on the presentation they're getting ready to make to you, and I'm going to turn it over to him.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing us to first participate or be appointed to this board, and we all thank you for that, and we hope we're going to provide a good service for the county. So I like to I think concept plan B is up there, and so that's what we are focusing on. It's a tremendously, it's a great concept. And we're really excited about it, and we realize that not everything is gonna get done at one time, and we're not asking for that, of course. But, that's, Cecil and myself, and I want to tell you, we flipped a coin and I lost, so that's why I'm up here. So next time maybe it'll be Cecil. But anyway, yeah. I'm not accustomed to using something like this, I can tell you. But on August 10th, and we've been watching the weather forecast very well, and the weatherman said it was going to be 85 degrees. Well, he was wrong. It was 95. And so Cecil and myself decided he has an open Jeep. We decided we're going to take this Jeep ride. And we did. We started right here on Sony Lane, and we toured as much of this as we could. We didn't do a hike. Yeah. I can't keep it still. I can tell you, I'm probably going to put
So we came from here and went all the way back to the two farms back there. And we rode back through here. Well, basically, what we want to talk about right now is just this section right here forward. This small section right here is 11 point some acres and all that problem.
Well, Cecil, actually it goes all the way to the ponds.
You're right.
It's kind of, you see a break right there, and that was, we measured that the other night at the meeting, and it's 11.7 acres is what that turns out to be. And so, and this is what our focus is on, and this is what our recommendation is going to be on. And so we're going to call it phase 1. So I don't know how many phases we're going to end up having, but we're going to start with 1, of course. And so this is our board, and this is what we discussed, was the clearing, the stumping, taking all the stumps out, leveling whatever we need to do, and preparing that 11.7 acres for, we hope maybe some businesses coming in or whatever, but we got to start, and this is what we recommend our start is going to be. It's right along the highway. It begins as you come up the hill. Everybody that's familiar with 158. You can't see the pond actually any longer because it's grown up, but we did ride through as much of that property, that part of the property as we could, and I'm, as a farmer, I'm in the irrigation, so I have equipment to do this, so I'm very familiar with land clearing. But the first thing I'm going to tell you is it's not a cheap thing to do. I mean, it costs a lot to do, and so that's going to be something you guys are going to have to decide on our approach with that. But once it is done, and we would possibly get it seeded down and have it looking where, we could host community events or whatever on that parcel. But it's going to have to be maintained. And so we realize that's going to be a cost to the county to maintain that property. So Cecil did talk to Tom Morgan about the timber that's on it. If you want to call it timber, I don't call it timber. I call it, there's not a lot on that 11.7 acres. It's in my vision, and I think Cecil will agree, and we discussed it with the board, it's not anything that we're going to hire a logger that's going to be excited about going in there and logging anything and getting it, generating any money out of that portion. So you want to speak on what Tom Morgan had to say, or just?
If I would say if you could use the mic, yeah.
You got him up there one way or another, right?
Didn't need the coin, you got it.
I had a two-headed coin. Yes, I did talk to Tom Morgan about this, and basically, It's a matter of bringing some equipment in there and pulling those trees up, taking an excavator, putting them in a pile, and he said they could be burnt right on site. Of course, we would have to get a permit to do so, but during the right time of year, they could be burnt right there. He also mentioned that drainage pond that has been grown up and it's not doing what it's designed to do, that needs to have some maintenance done to it also. And one thing that I'm going to bring up, regardless, and there's not a name of that road, but there is a road that comes, there's a dirt path that comes off of 158 to the left of the credit union that goes straight back to about where the nursing home is. And the path ends in a large ditch. So we spotted some four-wheeler tracks back there too, and my concern about this big ditch and this path winding up in a big ditch is we do have a liability there. Something needs to be done there, either a barricade, a couple loads of sand, anything, but had it been grown up more than it was and we had been cruising along a little faster than we were, we could have very easily wound up in the bottom of that ditch, and it's a large ditch. It's a deep ditch. It's a wide ditch.
So what we are asking is, like I said, we visioned this 11.7 acres to be cleared, de-stumped, stabilized, and sown with grass. We could, as I mentioned, we could have some events begin there. Fall Festival was mentioned. You have something going where the county can see, hey, yes, we got something moving forward. We're not dependent on the school system's property or whatever to host these events. And so what we're asking is permission for us to secure bids on clearing that land. I know what it costs me to do it, and it's not a cheap thing. I mean, equipment, y'all all know, equipment is expensive, and it takes a lot to do it. But there are people right there that could do it, and we feel like with what we've seen, and it's not a lot out there, and it shouldn't take a great deal of expense. And I'm not going to throw a figure out there because I don't know what someone would charge, but we want permission to secure, some bids to get this ball rolling. And so, and also, with that, if we do get a bid, we'll, however how many bids we get, there's not a lot of people in that business, not like it used to be. But once we get a bid, we'll bring that to you and present it to you and see what you say, But I want to tell you, any bid we get, it will have a timestamp on it because costs change all the time. I mean, you're well aware of that. And so, we just would have to. I mean, we're excited about moving forward. We have, as far as a timeline, we're asking for for you commissioners to develop a vibrant Merchants Mill Pond Committee marketing plan. And so, and with that, begin marketing that property right away. Hopefully we can, if a business knows that this is in the beginning, they would be maybe perhaps excited about coming to the county. And so we're asking for that. Anything else that anybody on the board can think? I just, again, thank you for your time. I'll be glad, or any of us be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me. Yes, I want to say I love this concept. And as you mentioned, marketability is so important. As we recruit industry or whoever, commercial, to come here, curbside appeal is vital. And also, we want to be productive with what we have ownership of. I see this as a great investment. I would love to hear the bids because that's a big weighing factor also.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's a good investment. It's a good investment. We can get a return on it. We can help the community. We can have, as you mentioned, festivals, things like that would generate revenue. So I love the concept. I love the marketability of it. I love the curbside appeal. And I want to thank the committee for everything you have done to get this off the ground.
I gotta make a point of order. Do you still own property there, Mr. Roundtree?
He's allowed to make a comment.
I'm just asking a question. I just want to make sure for clarity. I mean, if you don't, it's not a problem. I'm just wanting to, but the discussion previously was that you own some property in there, and I just want to ask the appropriateness if we're going to have this discussion advocating for something that.
I do not own any property on the commerce part.
Okay. On the commerce part. Okay. All right.
Do not.
All right.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I would like to say thank everyone who serves on the committee. You're right, it did, on the very first meeting, it did gel right up, and it's nice to have good conversations. One of the things that I was tasked with when I was asked to generate this is we wanted to take this space, and it's a lot of community concern about purchasing the land originally. One of the things that I believe that this board has said before in the past, and I agree with, that that's already happened, that's already been bought, the county owns it. What are we going to do with it? And so if we want to be able to generate any type of revenue off of it through bringing any type of business or anything like that to it, you got to be able to invest a little bit of money into it to be able to make it not look like a cut-down. Because right now when you ride by there, that's what you see. You see a cut-down, you don't see any type of commerce park or anything like that. And so when to be able to market that is what you need to do, is be able to clear some areas up, grub it, make it look like it's ready for a building to be built on it. But at the same time, it's going to take a while to be able to bring any type of commerce there. You're going to get people interested and all that kind of good stuff. So what could we do with the space in the meantime? And I think it was some good ideas that was thrown out there. We're getting ready to have Fall Festival here coming up in a few weeks, and looking forward to seeing everybody out there at the ballpark for that. But this will be a great spot to do that. We could bring back something like a Swamp Fest like we've done in the past, and bring the community together to be able to have those type of things. And so this will be a great area that we can prepare for to do that, and then see where it goes from there, because those type of activities brings businesses to the county so they can see what type of commerce that they can have here. So I'm going to go ahead and unless you want to go a little bit further and talk about it.
I just think I'm really excited to see especially from meeting one, to have a concept presented is really exciting, and to be able to move forward. I think that, any type of movement to show progress is going to be important. But go ahead and do what you were doing.
So I'd like to go ahead and make a motion that we allow the Commerce Committee to move forward with obtaining bids and bringing those bids back to the commissioners for review and decision.
I'll second that motion.
All right, if there's any further discussion.
Yeah, I got some discussion. So we've spent $600,000 on this piece of property, and we spent another $50,000 on this property, and we continue to spend money on this property. And what I'm hearing is we want to clear some land, and I appreciate what these folks have done, Mr. Askew, Cecil, Ms. Green, babysitter Leslie. The point being is, Ms. Benolio, I appreciate y'all's effort. I really do. Mr. Brothers, I appreciate your effort. But for me, we're talking about going out and clearing some land. We just were talking earlier about trying to inventory what stuff we have, what we're going to do with it. And I hear that they're saying, hey, they want us to tell them what we would like to do with this, a plan. I think we need to do the plan first. Again, I'm about planning, figuring out what we want to do. And then if we want to clear that land because we think long-term that's going to be an area for parking or part of a bigger facility, I think that would be a good thing. I think it might be a very good thing, but I don't hear people saying, oh, if only that land was cleared, you could market it and sell it for $50,000 an acre. It seems like this is almost like we're spending more money after more money after more money for a site that, have we sold any land in there? Have we done any marketing before now? Will clearing the trees make it more marketable? Maybe so, but I just feel like I have to be the voice to speak up and say I have concerns about us just deciding to go do that. and maybe getting bids is okay. I'm a little averse to having contractors give bids if I'm not absolutely sure I want to go have them do that. And if y'all are absolutely sure you're going to have them clear it no matter what, then you should go forward with it.
I think at this point, we don't even have a cost to consider if we're going to be moving forward. A bid is a jumping off point. Everything's going to have a timetable to it. Nothing's happening tomorrow. It's going to take time to gather bids. It's going to take time to make a decision. Hopefully, we'll be further along in a planning process with more information at that point. I don't think two things like collecting bids and us going through an assessment simultaneously is a bad thing.
Okay.
It brings us further along instead of kicking that can down the road further and further. We're actually making progress by doing two things cohesively, is my personal opinion.
And I'm in agreement with that. You know, we're taking our time, we're getting the bids, we're going through the process. And in the end, this is an investment for Gates County. And we need to start the process instead of delaying, and then, you know, it's something that needs to be done. We have the property, so let's utilize the property.
All right.
I like.
So we're going to call for a vote on that motion.
Very good mission statement. Could she read that?
I think
That'd be good.
do we have to vote with the discussion? Yeah. I think we have to vote. We have a motion on the floor. We've had our discussion, so we have to call to vote, and then we're welcome to hear that. All right, so all in favor? All opposed? Okay, and that will pass.
Okay. And because we weren't given a mission, we came up with this mission statement. The mission of the Gates County Merchant Commerce Park Committee is to provide informed, community-driven recommendations to Gates County Commissioners for the future development of Merchant Commerce Park, advancing sustainable economic growth, fostering business and employment opportunities, and enhancing the quality of life for current and future residents of Gates County.
I love that. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the next Citizen Advisory Board recommendation. We have the Planning Board recommendation for the Data Center Zoning Amendment. We will have Ms. Lisa Cherry join us to present the recommendation. And I just want to thank you on the forefront for the event you hosted last week while several of us were out of town at conference. I think it is a phenomenal thing that the commissioners were not there and that you got to have true citizen input without us being present. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do.
Oh, thank you. You do. You get your turn. I understand. You do. It's coming. It's definitely coming. So, yes. So data centers. We had the community engagement last week, just like you said. So this is the presentation that was just missing the first slide of welcoming the public. So I'm just going to go through it pretty, I'll try to be brief because I'm sure you're aware of it and the public's aware of it. We just want you to know that the Gates County Planning Board has been researching and discussing data centers since September 25. So this presentation will summarize all the information, the moratorium, the timeline discussion, and the ordinance amendment itself. So again, the timeline, December 17th, you adopted the moratorium. In January through July 2026, we continued the research workshops, draft ordinance, and then of course August of last week, we did the community engagement to show the planning board recommendation. It's a draft recommendation at this point. So of course, we just went ahead and wanted to let them see the moratorium. And what's highlighted there is just the plan of action and the schedule that we're in as of right now, and that we've met that and continuing to meet that. So the recommendation itself has an authority, a purpose, a definition of data center, findings of fact, countywide prohibition, the permit denial, and the UDO use table that's in our ordinance currently. And we met with County Attorney Wood, thank you, and he reviewed that as well. So we appreciate that. We sat down and were able to go over that. So, you know, I think really the best thing to go through, because you will, again, we will have a public hearing. You will approve, you know, add to it, deny, whatever you need to do. So I think the best way to go through it is, you know, again, we have the definition, we have the purpose, and we have all that. So I think the best way to show it, pictures are worth 1,000 words. So this is the use table, and all of the verbiage just backs this up. It shows our zoning districts, which, we have R1, RMH, C1, I1, A1, O and I, RMF. And also, those are residential manufactured homes, commercial, industrial, agricultural, office and institutional, and the multifamily residential. And the planning board is recommended to prohibit in those districts. And the data center, which I know it's hard to see for you guys, but that is what's highlighted and that's prohibited. And then we have the ordinance note that will go along with it that, like I had said earlier, that has a permit denial. And I'll be more than happy to read the 2 pages if you'd like me to out loud, but it's up for everyone to see. And it's also on the website if anyone would like to read it in its entirety, because we will read it fully on the night of adoption once it comes for public hearing if you would like. But again, we had the engagement last week. It was a great turnout. We had over 60 people attend. We had 45 surveys filled out, and to ask the question if people supported that, any feedback they'd like to give, and we've compiled all that you'll be getting, and if you'd like to see that, and anyone else in the public as well. And it seemed to be positive for the ordinance draft amendment itself. So with that being said, we have our next steps. It's to recommend the adoption of the proposed data center ordinance amendment after all the research, as I've said. So now we'll move into a phase of formal adoption. Will be after required public notice, public hearing by the Gates County Board of Commissioners at a future scheduled publicly held meeting by the Board of County Commissioners before December 17th, unless you decide to extend it if you do not agree with it. So that's basically in a nutshell what we've done. And if you have any questions or comments, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Madam Chair, could we ask Lisa to please read that statement in red? I don't know about the folks in the audience, but I had a hard time
go back
with the print.
I understand. Yeah, the note that will go along with the use table, we have these notes that in our addition to, and it's the ordinance note and specific standards. It's data centers as defined herein, including cryptocurrency, mining facilities, and similar high-intensity computing operation are prohibited in all zoning districts within Gates County. This prohibition applies regardless of the principal use, accessory use, or occupancy classification of any building or structure in which the activity occurs. So that's the note. Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes. So if there's any questions, again, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Have any comments or questions for Ms. Cherry? No? Yep. Okay.
Yes.
For reference, is this comparable to any other localities or counties around us?
Clay County's done it. Most of the other counties right now we have a few that are in a moratorium status, 1 and 2 year status. Then there's others that have, I believe, some restrictions, or maybe on size.
But the language you think is pretty similar to what?
I believe Clay County is very similar. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. And just again, that's going to be accessible online for viewing. Or is it accessible online?
The presentation is there. Yes,
So.
ma'am. It is.
That might be something that's worth pushing out on social media.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving along to old business, we have the Buckland Elementary School facility planning. Manager Sauer, if you could update us on discussions from the special called meeting and from our time with our legislative representatives today. And then we can open the floor for conversation.
Boy, that's a lot to cover. We spent 2 hours with our lobbyists and with representatives from Senator Ted Budd's office and Tom Tillis's office. We, number one, said a big thank you to the North Carolina General Assembly. In the last 2 sessions, Gates County was the recipient of $11.6 million of funding for some very important projects. Some of those are capital projects. Some of those were direct impact for the school system with the Naval Academy program, the science equipment to expand those labs. I think the sheriff's office received about $300,000 of that, but most of the money is going for infrastructure, both water and sewer. Couple of things that we discussed moving forward. There's an upcoming legislative goal session, the General Assembly will be reconvening the long session in January. Our Association of North Carolina County Commissioners will have a goal committee effort to solidify goals as an organization across our 100 county members. And I think we may even have one or two of those to come up later this evening. But we said a big thank you to those individuals, and also hopefully had them leave understanding that the board has a strong vision, a focus on the project execution and completion, and we are moving forward. I'll have a few details under my report on the Buckland planning. I believe our direction is that the GEMS food pantry is in the process of moving with a few improvements in the cafeteria and kitchen so that they can handle their distribution with a little bit more elbow room, hopefully a lot better freezer and refrigeration system, and on a level ground surface where there won't be so much lifting, and they can hopefully roll packages out to the clients when they visit. And it really has been a partnership with the school system, as we talked, as was mentioned earlier, about some of the elements that need to be addressed. And again, it's really a credit to the GEMS organization and the Board of Commissioners. I think this is about a 20-year partnership, maybe longer. Wow.
Oh. I'll say that's 40 since
that
my
sounds
husband
like
was born
40.
that year.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And I think the commissioners are excited to be a part of that and a partner in that. We had an opportunity to meet with the design firm that the board selected following a rigorous review of proposals that were in response to the county's request for qualifications in North Carolina to hire either an architectural firm or an engineering firm. You don't just simply go to the Yellow Pages and find a engineering firm nearby. We must advertise a stated scope of work, intent, and that was done earlier this year for the purpose of moving forward with a new community center and senior center project. Initially, the target location has been the Merchants Commerce Center, and that may well be where we end up, but that's the path that we've been on. The county has secured $1 million in its first piece of the funding for the capital project, but that $1 million, as it's available through the U.S. Department of Agriculture, their Rural Development Division, indicates that under their rules, their money is the last money we spend. And we've got a rough estimate of maybe $12 million for what that project might entail. It would likely be much more than just a building with 4 walls. There's been quite a bit of spirited conversation about the amenities that we might have in the outdoor area around this. So the scope and the expansive programming and the construction costs, we believe, are going to be significant. And it may take years to generate the money between where we are today and spending that last $12 million. So we want to look at other potential options within the county. I think I even heard the phrase looking at low-hanging fruit, and that very well could be potentially at the Buckland Elementary School campus. But in order to test that hypothesis and look at all of our options, the board had a conversation this afternoon with the architect about revising our scope of work from a a contract to design a building for construction that we may not be able to afford to build for several years, hopefully not a decade, but certainly several years, and put that effort toward an evaluation of our existing facilities, a needs assessment for future programming, and utilizing the other grant that the county secured several years ago for what started out as renovations on the old community center, the facility next to the high school, which over a period of 2 different engineering studies was determined that between the 4 additions that they had, the additional roof structures that were installed, and a building envelope is the word they use, that leaks like a sieve. When it rains, there's no moisture barrier, and the water literally comes inside. And if you've ever visited the gym or the hallways at the community center, you've seen that. So that money has been available to us, has been approved for a design project. We are going to now seek to revise that agreement with our funding agency. It's the state's construction infrastructure fund, to put that toward our facility assessment and planning. And as I understood the board's conversation this afternoon, and as was spoken with the Board of Education, this effort will include school facilities and with a long reach. I don't know if we'll go 40 years, but I bet you we'll go 20 or 30 years in our projections. And I would think the term facilities will be a wide definition with many components that could include expanded athletic fields. It could be any number of things. We've had suggestions for down the road a swimming pool, an athletic track, just a lot of potential things. And yeah, the board this afternoon during a 4 o'clock work session has asked that we prepare a recommendation for their consideration this evening so that we maintain some momentum, sharpen our focus, and really try to take advantage of an opportunity we have, one, with the growing partnership with the Board of Education, 2, the opportunity to potentially use a portion of the Buckland campus, but possibly find an opportunity we hadn't yet envisioned for the Merchants Commerce Center property. I mean, we've got, I don't know, maybe a half dozen different concept plans that the board has engaged over the years, and I think it's safe to say all of those are plans that have a fluidity to them. I mean, there's nothing to say we can't erase this component and move it over here, or there's some exciting discussion going on. So I could go on for another hour on this, but it really has been an exciting path for the last few weeks, and I'm hopeful that we can push this forward. And I think the architectural firm of Skinner, Farlow, and Kerwin is very excited and committed and experienced in working on projects of this nature and in securing additional funding. As I recall, one of the key elements of their selection was they have a whole team geared toward grant writing, grant administration, and especially even USDA rural development.
All right, well, thank you very much for the update and giving everybody in the attendance in the county an update of where we stand with that. You know, all of this kind of stems from what we're trying to do in the future. In order to have something in the future, you got to have a plan to get there. So in light of, you know, Madam Chair, in light of today's discussion with the architect regarding the community center and the senior center project for Gates County, the county manager has been instructed to prepare the following midpoint motion for the board's consideration. Number one, approval of the revised scope of work, identify the design for construction of a new community center and senior center, and agreement to undertake a countywide facility evaluation of existing county facilities, office spaces, needs, analysis, opportunities for consolidation, and forecasting the future programming space needs for all county agencies, including the senior activities and community center and the school system, subject to concurrence with the school Board of Education. Number two, approval for the county management to seek approval for the funding agency, State Construction Infrastructure Fund, to utilize the available and existing grant funds in the amount of $495,000 to support this revised scope and work as outlined above. Number three, directions for our county manager to seek USDA rural development support and approval for its commitment to utilize the funds previously approved in the amount of $1 million for construction and/or renovation of a facility to provide expanded community center and senior center programs and services. Number four, approval to invite and join the Gates County Board of Education to evaluate the plan for the future school facilities for the next 30 years. Madam Chair, I'll offer a motion to approve the above items.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. And just open for discussion. I think, we had covered a lot of this during the work session earlier. My only concern was just the moving too early on reassigning that million from the USDA rural funds, just in the chance that they won't be open to moving it more than once if we go and suggest something else again. So if that is, I think, in lieu of what we find from the assessment, was that correct? Like the item 3 would be
The way
in lieu of the first two coming to fruition.
Yeah, so the way it's worded, we could use it in either or.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of this, and I believe you said it earlier. We're one of 100 that does not have a senior center, and we need one. The seniors in this county has been paying taxes for a long time. Most of them have. And they deserve a well-organized place to go, exercise, and do whatever they want to do. And I don't want them to have a used building that we just turn into a senior center. If we have to rehabilitate something and we turn it into a senior center, and that's all we can do, that's all we can do. We set out to have a new community center because the one that we're having it's not falling apart, technically. The bricks are still in place. But it's in very poor condition. And we had started moving forward, if I can remember correctly, because all the insulation in between the two walls or wet with rain and it's sagged down, there's no insulation value left. We looked at putting a new roof on it, and I forgot how much that was going to cost. We had made a decision to move forward with a new community center. $12 million. That's a whole lot of money. 4 years ago, the water system, we spent $1.5 million on it, and the water system was back in the black. It's turned around. We had to invest some money in it. As far as the community center, having it on one side of the county, a little bit further than the other side, I feel like it needs to be stayed in the center of the county. where it's accessible to all people. No one has to drive that much further than the other. We've got the Board of Elections in the center of the county now. We got the high school in the center of the county. We eventually hope to build a new high school out there, consolidate the schools even more, maybe one day. It's been talked. I feel like the community center needs to stay in the middle of the community. So $12 million, we've applied for $4 million worth of grants many times and we didn't get them. I don't think we need to forget about the community center being where we originally talked about it. I think we just need to go after grants harder and find the money. Our citizens pay all these taxes and run this county year after year. They don't deserve something repurposed. They deserve something that's brand new. If we got to go after funding and find $12 million, it's out there. You just got to look in the right bucket. I just don't think we've looked hard enough yet. So I'm not for repurposing something for our seniors. Now, if that's what we have to do in the meantime until we can find the correct money for it, then so be it. But I don't want to repurpose something and that's what they end up with. I want something new. I want something nice. The citizens in Gates County deserve anything just as nice as any other county that's around us. Some of this I do agree with, engaging the Board of Education in it, because school facilities and parks, I know we do have to share because we are a small county, but we deserve just as good as all the other surrounding counties. And we can do it. We just got to put a minds to it. We got to look in the right buckets of money. That's all I got to say.
Sounds good. Are there any other comment? I just want to, just kind of looking at it though. I mean, a lot of this is just to revise the scope of work, not necessarily to move the community center or senior center. It's to evaluate the buildings that we currently have, to evaluate the opportunities that we have. And so this is not something, a motion to relocate the focus of a new community
I
center.
do agree
So-
with every building needs to be looked at. 100% I do. It needs to be done. We need to know what our assets and what we need to work on.
So do we have any other discussion on the motion at hand? If not, we will call for a vote. All in favor of the motion as presented? That is unanimous. Okay. Thank you all. All right. We are moving along now. New business, we just have a few things here. One was the budget amendment. If Mr. Sauer could address this item for the public and the board.
Yes, Commissioners, you will find
Well, I was going to say, yeah.
budget, or are you doing the,
Well, I was going to say, we actually had discussed that earlier. Is that the one?
Did y'all?
Different budget amendment, yep. Thanks.
you'll find F27002. This is the budget amendment prepared by Mr. Robertson to carry forward the grant program funds that had been underutilized or not utilized since the last fiscal year. And primarily, the biggest one is the stream cleanup and the soil and water conservation. The other is the digital literacy telehealth grant. And you'll see all of the expenditures identified there. We've also got the 4-H camp, United Way, some DSS miscellaneous, the Veterans Office, and the America 250. The total was $134,134. F27002.
All right. Can we get a motion to approve if there are no questions?
I got questions.
Okay.
I just, if you would, give us a little explanation. The grant ones seem pretty straightforward, but like, I know that 4-H, what is that, 1600? Didn't we approve a $5,000 one like last month or something? Is this additional to that? Or what is that exactly?
As the summer moves on, we've had different program fees come in, and in order to spend them, we have to budget them.
So that's fees coming in, is what you're saying?
That's typically
Okay,
what those
okay.
are, yeah.
Same, what, the DSS, the same thing? 5,000? And then I
This is
see the
on my
grant, then America 250, North Carolina, $4,259.
Yeah, that was originally a $10,000 grant.
Okay.
And we just haven't finished that yet.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure, thank you.
All right, we get a motion to approve.
So moved.
All right, a second?
Second.
All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, next item is clerk to the board, a report and update. So Clerk Draper has the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I would like to start off with the open vacancies before we move into the applications that were submitted and are in your packet for review. Open vacancies, I have one for Trillium Health Resources Northern Regional Board. We have 6 vacancies for the Nursing Home Advisory Committee, 1 for the Planning Board, 4 for Recreational Advisory Board, 1 vacancy for the Library Board, 3 vacancies for the Opioid Prevention and Intervention Committee, and 1, which is, we have 2, excuse me, for Senior Tar Heel Legislature Committee. 1 would be a member and the other would be alternate. That is a new one that I was not aware of, and I'm getting more information on that, but we actually had a candidate submit an application. So turning over to the applications that were presented to you all for consideration, y'all have several applicants this month. We have Sarah Montague, I hope I'm saying her name correctly. She submitted interest in 3 separate boards, the Nursing Home Advisory Committee, Library Board, and the Planning Board. I have Miss Tiffany Long, who has applied for the Library Board. Mary Chester Wasco has applied for the Planning Board, and then Debbie Savage, who has applied for the Senior Tar Heel Legislature Committee. I do have a couple recommendations, from Miss Lisa Cherry. She has recommended Miss Montague, and then the branch manager for the library, Miss Kelsey Coburn, has recommended Miss Tiffany Long. So you have this item for consideration this evening.
All right, and can you just remind us, as far as serving on boards, is there a limit on how many a citizen can be on? Or are there any kind of parameters there?
I believe, don't quote me on this, but I want to say, I don't think there's anything in the
Just
rules and
wanted to be sure.
procedures
Okay.
of how many they can serve on.
Okay. All right, so we've had these with an opportunity to look over. Do we have any questions, comments, or any motions to move forward with any of the applicants?
So, and as a reminder, 1 opening for Planning Board and 1 for the Library Board.
Okay. All right. And you said on the Nursing Home Advisory Committee, we have currently no,
We have 6 vacancies.
but I mean, no members.
No members
I just
at
wanted to
all.
point that out. We
Yes,
have
no
6
members
vacancies,
at all.
but we have no members at all.
That
Okay.
one does require some training that comes from additional outside source.
Okay.
Are the applicants aware of the training requirement?
I'm not sure.
All right. Have any comments, discussion? Motions forward?
Well, we have one person who's only applying for the planning board. So if there's only one spot, I would tend to want to lean to give them that one to share the wealth. There's 4 applicants here. If we give the planning board to the other person, then we are going to end up with 3 applicants overall.
I agree.
So I guess my recommendation would be Ms. Wasco for the planning board, same for Ms. Savage for Tar Heel Legislature, then Ms. Long and Ms. Montague both for the library board. but
There's
then
only
Ms.
1
Montague-
position for Library Board.
There's only one?
1
I thought you said there were
vacancy.
6.
No,
No, that's the nursing home.
Nursing Home Advisory Committee has 6 openings.
Then Ms. Long for library, and then that gives Ms. Montague the nursing home advisory. That would use all 4. Since we have 4 applicants that are interested in participating, that'd be a way to get all 4 of them on board.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion, I'm sorry.
I second that motion.
Okay.
All right, open for discussion. Any comments or discussion on that? And if not, we'll call for a vote. And that would be for all 4 to have the first listed board.
Yes.
For them is the easiest way to, I think, say that.
Noted.
All right, all in favor of the motion as presented? Okay, it is unanimous.
All right, thank y'all. And I have a couple updates. Next month, the A250 lecture series will continue. Wanda Lassiter from the Museum of the Albemarle will be presenting a discussion of woodworking in northeastern North Carolina. The lecture is scheduled for Thursday, September 19th, here in the historic courthouse. And as part of this series, this lecture is an opportunity to highlight regional history and craftsmanship as part of the broader American 250 commemoration. In your packet, you will find the suggested 2027 Board of Commissioners meeting schedule and 2027 holiday schedule.
Yes.
This is just a suggestion for those. I did highlight 2 of the dates on the meeting schedule. The April one, I will be out of town for professional development. I know y'all can handle it without me, but wanted to make note of that. And then in addition, typically the third
Yeah.
week of August is when the NCACC conference is, but I think there's unofficial discussion that it might not be.
Per
so-
conversation this past week, I was hearing August 5th through 7th earlier in August. I know there's been an outcry for it to be earlier because of the start of school.
Right.
So from my understanding, it will be the first week of August.
Okay, so this is, these schedules are being presented for board discussion and action, or it can be tabled to next month as a first reading.
Yeah. Any comments, questions, or motions for the holiday and meeting schedule for 2027? I know we discussed doing it earlier just so the staff can plan accordingly. All right. So we have a motion or?
We got to do it, this is the first reading, right? So we.
This is the first reading,
Okay.
yes.
So
Don't have to adopt
yeah,
it.
next-
You don't
next
have
meeting
to.
we're supposed- Or can we?
We can
You can,
adopt tonight.
you can
Yeah,
adopt
you
it now, I
can.
just have it ready.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All right. There's no discussion. All in favor? A show of hands. All right.
2 other announcements, county office closure, we will be closed, all county offices will be closed Monday, September 7th in observance of Labor Day. And then I received communication of a diabetes fair announcement. It's a health announcement. The Edenton Lions Club and ECU Health Chowan Hospital will host a diabetes fair on September 26th from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. This will be at the Edenton United Methodist Church Family Life Center, located at 225 Virginia Road in Edenton. This is a free event, but registration will be required as there's going to be a lunch provided. And I have an informational flyer that I will post to Facebook and the county website and distribute in all the county buildings by next week.
I've got 4 copies of the big ones.
The
you
big
can
ones,
put-
yes,
yeah.
yes, Mr.
You
South
got 'em,
brought me
okay.
a handful. And then the last thing I have, this is also in your packet. We have received an offer on surplus real property. The board has been provided in your packet with this offer from Mr. Twyford, sorry, along with the backup documentation provided by our tax administrator. And this is being presented to you all for review. If you'll notice, behind the offer is the information provided by Taylor, Ms. Powell, excuse me, that notes the total amount of funding, or the total amount of costs that we have associated with this parcel. And I also do want to say I have received a phone call and an email I haven't been able to follow it with some other people inquiring about our surplus, our real property surplus. So I'll get back to y'all if y'all are here, but this is what we have on the table tonight.
Okay.
I'm looking at the tax card, as long as I'm going through my, everything correctly here. The tax card has the land value at 31,000,
Just, yes.
just the land value.
And I should have provided a Google map, and I apologize, I did not. It's actually different. It's a lot of growth on this property, not
Not like that.
versus what is on the GIS map currently. I did look it up. It's a lot of overgrowth and vegetation.
Yeah, so with the land being $31,000 of value as far as the tax assessed value, not including any structures or nothing like that, because I understand,
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the note as
Yeah.
far as don't go in the house.
Yes.
But, and with the county outstanding, money owed as being $15,500, he needs to at least come back with what the county is owed in taxes.
Okay. Okay. Do y'all want to counter offer that, and then we can do the
How
upset
much
bid
is owed?
progress?
15,
Process?
just over 15, 15,531.42. Taxes and attorney fees.
Should be right behind the offer.
This one right here?
Right here, right behind the offer.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
There you
yeah,
go.
okay, yeah, yeah.
And so land value at 31, the amount owed to county as is with attorney fees and taxes is just at half of that, and the offer came in was at 5,000, so.
At $5,080.
Make a motion to counter offer $15,531.42.
I second that motion.
Any further discussion on that? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor?
That's all I have.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, and now we have the county manager report and update.
I'll be brief, and it's show and tell as soon as I get the computer up. And I'm not going to try the green thing.
Is this a picture of a jugging?
Just as reference, this is for the well 2A emergency replacement for the well that failed in January. It's about 400 and, Brad, is it 410 or 420 feet deep? 410 feet deep. There are 5 screens. You'll see them, they're kind of dark in color. Those 5 screens, I think, total 65 feet of screen material for drawing water. We continue to work through the development of those screens. If you'll jump to the next one, please. On the left was the hydrogeologist analysis of how we identified where to place the screens, and the crane operator, I think that's when the test well was being installed, is that? The case was being installed. Then the next item, Brad, help me out on this. That's what they use for the, yeah, yeah. Can you explain a little bit?
I'm gonna have to look this way because that's the one I only can see. Basically what it is 2 discs at the top and the bottom, and they work it up and down on those screens, and in between those 2 discs they inject water or some type of chemical, mostly chlorine, and they inject it in and out of the screen, and it pulls water in, or pushes water through the screen and then sucks it back out with that plunging, and it's supposed to develop the screen and work the screens and clear it up.
And that's the work that's been completed, and this next phase is the jetting that we described during the.
Yeah, this is basically cleaning the screens from all the well mud and everything.
Right, that's correct. From the drilling mud and sediment and all that kind of stuff.
The next screen was one of the shots you've seen in the past. This was from Dr. Spruill. It shows the available aquifers. Our wells all presently draw water from the upper Cape Fear aquifer. In our next round of test wells, we're going to put an 800-foot well into the lower Cape Fear aquifer and run a comparison of the upper and the lower. And we are proposing that, next slide please, for the Buckland School property. And we will start with 2 test wells and bring back results and recommendations as to where on that site or possibly another site we may recommend the final production well. We've got real high enthusiasm for the potential from the lower Cape Fear based on Dr. Spruill's analysis. Item next is reflective of the board's capital projects. If you've been driving around town, you've seen orange cones, you've seen yellow trucks, pipe laying in the road, and we most recently have started the directional boring, Carter's Creek, Bennett's Creek, and a number of intersections throughout the county. If you flip to the next slide, please. This is at the lot, county-owned property adjacent to DSS, where we've allowed TA11 to set up their laydown yard. And just another view. They have assured us and promised that they will put the property back the way they found it, but they did have to put in a temporary access driveway to get in there. This next slide I took this afternoon after I left our legislative gathering, and Brad, talk to us about these 24-inch pipes versus the others.
Well, what that is, that's the 24-inch casing that's going under Highway 158 that they're going to run the 12-inch water line through. DOT requires to be at least 30 inches below the asphalt, and it has to be in ductile iron casing. So.
That's just to give you an idea of the augers that they used. And I think in a previous month I showed you the augers for the well. That auger was
36 inches.
36 inches. That's 24. It was 30. It was 36. And then one last slide of a couple of folks I saw up in Durham at the state conference, and we'll end with everybody smiling. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so moving along to commissioner updates, I'm going to, I can't remember where I started last month, but I think it was down there, so I'm going to start down here.
Okay, report since last month, Albemarle Commission. It's hard to remember because we always have it the next night after this meeting, so trying to remember notes. I've actually wrote them down on my phone to try and capture. Just 2 things worth noting. I talk over and over again about the housing assistance programs they've got, and the update as of last month, the weatherization assistance program, which is good for the whole Albemarle district. They have $2.9 million available funds for a 3-year program for weatherization that still can be applied for. And then the essential single-family rehab program, that's the one that's specific right now for Gates County and Terrell County. They still have $346,000 available. We're starting the 2nd year. We've had 3 people from Gates County that have used it, and I think only 2 in Terrell. So there's lots of money still available for folks that need that. Again, you have to show a need, a financial need or whatever, but it's a big pot of money still sitting there available for folks. Now, I did want to bring up, I think it's great we talked about the whole planning actions. I've been a big advocate. Everybody knows that. Running my mouth, won't shut up about it. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the school that we really do want to do the facilities planning and get things right. I think people see me a lot as an opposition to everything. It's not so much that. I like to make a conscious decision going forward with things, and I think that's a great first step. Applaud the board here. Hopefully the school board as well will embrace it and we'll do a great thing going forward. Accountability is what it's for me. And I do want to say recently, and this is changing the subject slightly, some people follow social media and other things have seen some complaints about the rescue squad. And people are very appreciative of having the rescue squad. The first time you're in need and they show up, all your concerns about them fall away. But at the same time, I do want to say that we mentioned back in this budget development cycle that we wanted to see an audit. And I just want to reiterate that because we're now well past the budget year and we're going to be approaching the next budget year. And if people come in May and say, well, we didn't know about it, we don't have time to do an audit, let's just let it go another year, I'm going to be drastically disappointed. And so I'd like to encourage us as a board to reiterate that we expect an audit when we're given hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for something. Not taking away at all the good job they do. And like I said, if I had a health issue right now, I'd be the guy that would be having no complaints about them showing up. But at the same time, as a steward of public funds, I think we need to account for how our money is being spent. And a public reconciled audit is important for me. And then the last thing, again, we talked about in the work session. Again, that whole big, long facility planning effort, I think it's, again, worth noting. The other big thing I've harped on is the necessity in having a conscious decision about the pipeline pump station from the Buckland School without us having a clear idea of the use of that building. And so I just want to note that. I think it's good that we talked about it some today, and hopefully we'll make some conscious decisions, just not let momentum carry us forward. Thank you.
Commissioner Roundtree.
Yes, I truly enjoyed North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Conference that was held in Durham. It was very informative. It was a great networking opportunity, and I was blessed to be selected as Regional Director for the NCABCO organization. Also earlier at the Social Security Institute, I was selected as Regional Director at Large for the North Carolina Association of County Boards of Social Services. So I look forward to serving in those two capacities. Also, I want to congratulate Ms. Layla Eggleston. She's a freshman at UNC Charlotte. She's majoring in management communication systems, and she received a scholarship during the conference also. With sad hearts, I mourn and we mourn the death of a Gates County legend, Reverend Claude Odom. He also was a former commissioner in Hereford County, a great statesman, a great reverend at New Mill Swamp Baptist Church. He left a legacy of excellence, and he was a great individual who made impact not only in Gates County, and not only the region, throughout the state. So with sad hearts, he will be funeralized Friday. Also, there was a great 250 America celebration here. Everyone should have been here. We recognize former Secretary of State, the late Thad Ewell, the longest serving Secretary of State in the state of North Carolina. He was an awesome man. His family was here. They told great stories, told about his impact in the community throughout the state. He was a powerful man, and he made Gates County proud. He made Gates County proud because he was one of us, and he served our state well. Recognized for his red bow tie and also his hat. He was a strong man with wisdom and excellence, and I'm proud that Gates County at one point in time had a Secretary of State. Also, October the 1st, this is my Trillium update. October the 1st, Trillium will be launching a claim system, a unified claim system. And what that is, all claims are going to go directly through Trillium. And Trillium will be the payer for those who are in that particular tailored plan. So that's going to take place October the 1st. So that concludes my updates. So glad to see everyone out and engaged, and hope everyone have a blessed night.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, I don't really have any committee updates. I've got some medical stuff going on that I don't get out as much as I was. I did have a constituent talk to me yesterday, the day before. I can't remember which one it was, but they were at our wonderful library that we have. They had problems getting on the internet, and come to find out they don't have fiber optic internet at our library. So, Mr. Sauer, if I can put this on one of your to-do lists, being that we have fiber optic internet, we look and see what it would take to get it to our library. I'm not sure if it's a regional thing, they use all one vendor or whatever, but I think we might be able to, even if we have to pay for it for our citizens, you know. I think they deserve, but everybody goes to the library to learn. Some people go to the library to get on the internet because they don't have internet. And I think we should be able to provide them with the best internet inside there. And we got it. We got it. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you.
All right, well, I sit on the Albemarle Regional Transit Authority, and we had some really good discussions this past month, and a lot of it was geared around trying to get more funding out of the North Carolina DOT to the Albemarle area. You know, they talked about a lot of things they wanted to do over in the Dare County area, but Gates County is on that list too. And they're continuing with working to get additional funding to modernize 158, widen it as it kind of comes down through the county, as well as continuing the 4-lane of 13 up to the Virginia state line. There's also, the design has been done and the funding is available for a roundabout at 158 and Acorn Hill Road. So that's something that's could be coming in the future. So that's something that North Carolina DOT is looking, so just kind of informing everybody that something just different for Gates County. So I don't know if I exactly agree with them, but you try to drive a combine around that thing. Had a good time this past week at the NCACC. Yes, I got up and spoke and had that with the tongue twister for me. I had to slow down every time I got up and talked about that. So just to hear the issues going on in the other 99 counties in this great state, and they are very similar. Some of them has a bigger price tag than what ours do, but they're very, very similar. And to be able to bat ideas off of one another, how are they handling their issues, how we're handling them. They were shocked to hear how great of a relationship that we have with our Board of Education. And I said, well, when you got good folks on the Board of Education, then you got good relationships. That's how it works. So I also want to thank Dr. Jordan for and let her know that we appreciate her taking on that role as interim superintendent. We look forward to your success. We know that your success will bring the school system success. So we're looking forward to it. So, that's all I have.
All right, well, thank you. So just to highlight, the NCACC conference was phenomenal, as it always is. Lots of great information, lots of great connections. I had mentioned last month that I was running for the second vice chair. I had the vice chair of our board do one of my nomination speeches. I did not win, which I think is an okay thing. I was the underdog going in. I knew that. We're new to showing up in Raleigh. We're new to showing up at the NCACC events. It's just been the past few years. My opponent's been there over 12. He's a mentor in the association, so I'm incredibly excited to be under his leadership for the next few years, and continue to serve as the District 1 director for the NCACC as well, which is the northeast most 10 counties here in North Carolina, what we jokingly call the forgotten Northeast. So we're getting a little louder so they remember us over here. Also in the past month have traveled to DPI, as we mentioned earlier, with Board of Education and our superintendent, and it was, I think, a fruitful meeting. It came out with relationships built and more conversations going forward, and I cannot wait to see what it does for Gates County. I think it's going to be really good. The EMS board is meeting tomorrow night. Just going to put that out there. We haven't had a meeting since the budget was passed, so it hasn't been neglected. We're just having our first EMS board meeting tomorrow night in this fiscal year. Just so I'll have that update and report next month. And then lastly, I have here, I have two legislative goals. The North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, which is the NCACC, has a legislative goals process every 2 years when the General Assembly goes into long session. And so counties are able to propose goals for the NCACC to pick up, to lobby, and to advocate for on behalf of 100 counties. And so I've had, just based on conversations with staff and with our board, various issues we've had with funding, and then with a citizen that had come and asked for us to back something, I've drafted 2 proposed legislative goals that you should have received tonight. But I will read those and just see if we are open to adopting these, and if so, I need to have them submitted tomorrow. The first is a proposed legislative goal to reform North Carolina's county tier system. And just for a little background before I read what the proposed goal is, the tier system is what we use to apply for a lot of our grants. We are a tier 2 county. You want to be a tier 1 as far as a low income area. Somehow or another, Pitt County and various counties across the state are tier 1, and we are a tier 2 county. Which loses a lot of grant opportunities for us. A lot of funding that we could get at state level, we are not capable of getting because of this tier system. So we're trying to advocate for reform of the tier system for counties like us. And this proposal says support comprehensive reform of North Carolina's county development tier system to ensure that economic distress is measured accurately and that counties are not unfairly excluded from critical grants, incentives, and other funding opportunities. The current system requires counties to be divided into a fixed allocation of 40 Tier 1 counties, 40 Tier 2 counties, and 20 Tier 3 counties. This structure forces counties to compete against one another for a limited number of designations, even when multiple counties face similar levels of economic distress. As a result, a county's designation may reflect its ranking relative to other counties rather than its actual needs, resources, and ability to fund essential services. Legislation should replace the fixed 40-40-20 allocation with objective needs-based thresholds that allow any county meeting the established criteria to receive the appropriate designation, modernize the formula to account for poverty, household income, population loss, unemployment, tax-based capacity, infrastructure needs, access to health care, educational attainment, and the cost of providing essential services. Recognize the unique challenges of rural, low population, and geographically isolated counties. Prevent counties from abruptly losing funding eligibility because of small annual changes in rankings or data. And establish a reasonable or transition or hold harmless period when a county moves to a higher tier. And regularly review the formula and its effect on counties' eligibility for state grants, matching requirements, and economic development programs. So that is the first proposed legislative goal. And then the second, General Assembly for years has been trying to take power away from the county and put it at state level for property and land use and now property taxes and all the things. And you'll be hearing from us a lot more on this as we get closer to election times. But this specific goal was brought to me by a citizen and asked that we put up, and it's restoring local control of fox hunting preserves. It states, support legislation clarifying that controlled fox hunting preserves, commonly known as fox pens, are recreational or commercial hunting facilities rather than bona fide agricultural operations. Amend North Carolina law to ensure these facilities are subject to county zoning, land use, permitting, and reasonable operational regulations. The legislation should restore decision-making authority to county governments, allowing locally elected officials to consider location, neighboring property uses, noise, traffic, public safety, animal welfare, environmental impacts, operating hours, and other community concerns. Counties should have the authority to approve, condition, regulate, or deny these facilities according to local needs and circumstances. The North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission may continue establishing minimum statewide standards related to wildlife conservation, animal health, and licensing, but those standards should not override a county's authority over land use and local operational impacts. So these are the 2 proposed legislative goals. We could take them individually or together, but I would like to make a motion that we move these along in the legislative goal process for the NCACC. We have a second. Do we have any comments or discussion?
Yeah, the only thing, the way the formula currently works, you kind of hear accounting for poverty, household income. That's what killed us.
Okay.
What I was going to say is the current thing that killed this county and changed our tier was the household income and poverty.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I think you should push that household income to the last because the order tends to give emphasis.
Okay.
And I think you should push up tax-based capacity because that's really where we lack compared to other counties in a similar tier. They
So
have
maybe just
big
swap the 2?
tax-based Yep.
Okay, all right, so I'm going to make an amendment to my motion. I'm going to make a motion we're going to separate these out approve the Reform North Carolina's county tier system with the amendment of switching tax base and capacity and household income forward, and we'll take the other one as a second. All right, so that's my amended motion. And we have a second for that. So all in favor of the amended motion? All right, that is unanimous. And then bringing forth the restoring local control of fox hunting preserves. I mean, I think land use in general, but this is specific, so it was a specific request. So I'll open that. Again, I make a motion for this one.
Yeah, I'll second that. It was something that one of the local citizens has come pretty big advocate for that, so we'll see.
Repeatedly, yeah, we've had
Yeah.
lots of comments, but this, only question I'd ask is not to argue for or against this, but what other counties nearby are doing this? Have you talked to any of the other neighboring counties? So
I'm
we
going to be
submit
honest.
this, we're making sure others.
This was brought to me, and I was told, and I have had the person that came to me say that they would do the legwork for it. They just need our approval and support as a county. That they are not asking for anything other than us trying to push it through, that they are willing to call and.
Shawan County
They have
outright
had
banned it
conversations, yeah.
years ago, but the difference
Overturned
is that, because of the new state law and how it's worded.
Yeah, I
it
understand. I guess what I'm getting at is there any way besides us
I
advocating
do know
for this?
there are other counties that would like to see this change.
Well, see, the whole thing about this is you can affect people's businesses. You're telling them that if you buy this 200 and some acres of land, you can't do with it what you want to do with it. You see what I'm saying? So this is a real touchy, that's why I asked them to be separated, because
Yeah.
I'm not against it, doing homework on it, but I would need more information on what we're really asking for before I would vote to change something.
Yeah, so like as of right now, I believe, and I'm going to look, it's zoned as agricultural through the state. Bona fide farm and agricultural.
Yeah, so we're just asking to separate it out of that.
To separate it and give county more control over the approval of them.
So this is just requesting the authority returned
To return to the
not
county.
to approve that. That one would
Right.
then become ours to determine.
100%. It's just requesting authority to come back to the county.
Okay, all right. I understand it better.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it would still be, I mean, in the bona fide farms and agricultural, I mean, that's going to be covered in the agricultural farm bills and all that. That's how present values determine, farm use.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that will work together, so I couldn't.
And again, and I can say too, when we submit these, the way the legislative goals process works, it goes to the NCACC staff. They consolidate similar and like requests and bring them down. They go before the steering committees and they approve so many. If they make that, then they go in November before the 100 counties to approve the legislative goals. And after November, the NCACC will be given directives to advocate for the goals that are approved in the November Legislative Goals Conference. So it's not just saying it's going to go to them and they're going to do it. It's going to go through this process of being weaned down and this process of vetting and being fine-tuned to fit most counties.
And these are just the
Yeah.
two that our county is.
Right, just submitting. But it will be refined before it goes forth to anything else on their level.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a first and second. So all in favor? All right, thank you all. And my last comment was, and they had left, I'm guessing because of time and having school, but I was really excited to see a family with young kids in the audience tonight. I had a text the other day asking what time the meeting was, and that they were wanting to get their family involved in politics and just following local politics and community involvement. So they're not here, but I think it was phenomenal that they were, and that the kids got to see some of the process. So now, do we have any end comments? No, okay. So we have come to the end of our business meeting. We do have a closed session that was added to the agenda. So if we could get a motion to go into closed session pursuant 143-318-11-6 for personnel.
I'll make that motion. I just want to make one comment. I may have insulted Mrs. Spinolio. She was my kid's babysitter when she was younger. And when I said that earlier, I apologize. She's not here now. I'm going to apologize to her later by saying my babysitter. The woman's brilliant. She's a professional. And I said that lightheartedly. It may have offended her. And I just want to tell the public that was not my intent at all. And I will apologize. So
Yeah.
with that, I'll move to go into closed session.
I'll
Thank
second
you.
the motion.
All right, all in favor? Okay, we'll be in closed session. And remember, phones stay out here.
Yeah, I saw those. She gave me a look. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm in trouble. She's sharp. She's sharp.
motion to come out of closed session.
Quite expeditiously would be nice.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to come out of closed session.
Do we have a second?
So second.
All in favor? All right, we are back in open session.
Motion to adjourn?
That is perfect. Can we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We are adjourned. Awesome.
All right.
Way to make it happen, guys.